So 81% of Americans are afraid of losing their job this year. For many of them, if they lose their job, that's pretty much the end. The statistical probability of them finding another job approaches zero, especially if you're over 50 years old. And what we're all seeing lines up with the job report that's showing widespread layoffs that haven't been seen since COVID. Now, the federal government hasn't helped that much, really. If you look at the cut of federal funding across the board, you would see they have added gasoline to the fire. They've made the situation even worse. Because when you look at NGOs, defense contracting, local level of government, and universities, there's a component of federal funding that goes into these organizations. That creates jobs. So we cut federal funding. The good news is we're saving tax dollars, and that should be celebrated. We all like that. It's amazing. But you have to take the bad with the good. It's not all good. The bad is we're losing millions of jobs. So we're cutting on university research. We need less PhDs over there. We're cutting local government programs that could benefit millions of people. Then if you take a look at all the federal government jobs that we've cut, there's over 300,000 people that left the federal workforce. Where do you think those people are going? Some of them retired. They retired early. Some of them went to lower levels of government, but a lot of them went to the private sector. So I knew this one lady, she left the Department of Homeland Security and she went to Lockheed Martin. There's another guy at HUD. He left HUD, went to Bank of America. They never intended to transition to a different industry, a different job, but because of the political winds, they had to do it. They had to go ahead and try something different. So ordinarily, these federal workers would be working in their position in their agencies, but they've taken private sector jobs away from probably people that were already in the private sector. Aside from the federal government, there are other key industries that are losing jobs. Look at manufacturing. They've lost over 30,000 jobs. Look at construction. They've lost 10,000 jobs. These are industries that a lot of experts thought would be growing under the Trump administration, but they're not growing. Why not? Well, three main things, really. You can look at the interest rates. We got high interest rates that kind of stifles economic growth. The second thing is reduced consumer spending. And this is people that are more reluctant to buy goods and services because they think a recession is coming. They realize inflation's kind of gotten out of control and they only see bad things ahead. And then look at the global supply chains. Look at the tariffs. A lot of people think the current plan with American first tariffs, it doesn't look that good when it comes to trade, when it comes to exporting U.S. products. So we could see a reduced demand overseas. That impacts the economy. 1 in 4 companies right now are under a hiring freeze or some sort of hiring pause. But there's one industry that's kind of carrying everything. When you're looking at the labor market, the one industry that's kind of shouldering everything that's actually increasing is healthcare. And that's because people live longer, people get sick, people need it. They need doctors, they need nurses, they need healthcare professionals. So that area continues to grow. But when your entire labor market is being carried and championed by one industry, the healthcare industry, that's a red flag. Beyond the reports and the numbers and all of it, what does it mean for you and me? Well, if you look at government services, it means slower and less government services, which will impact people differently depending on where you're at and what your needs are. It also means local economies are going to be hurting, especially ones that depend on federal dollars. So what am I talking about? DMV, the DC area, Maryland, Virginia, that little area right there, they're going to be hurting. Look at Mississippi. What's happening over at Mississippi? Mississippi loves those federal dollars. That's the deep South. They have DODs like all through Mississippi. Military bases, missile systems, all that stuff is in Mississippi. If that gets jeopardized or reduced, they're going to be hurting. Look at New Mexico, Alaska, Hawaii. There's a lot of government buildings all throughout there. There's a lot of federal employees that kind of stimulate those economies. They're all going to be hurting as well. And this is all before you even consider the implications of outsourcing or artificial intelligence, AI. What does the future really look like 5 or 10 years from now? We're concerned now of finding a job. What is our career going to be? How are we going to provide, put food on the table, pay the bills, all of that? But in the future, if you have family members that depend upon you, if you have young people in your life, kids, what do you tell them? Do you tell them to do the safe route and say, hey, just focus on healthcare? That's going to be the ticket to a stable career, and you're going to be a good earner if you stick it with healthcare. Or do you, roll the dice and say, well, you should be an AI engineer? How much longer are we going to need AI engineers? At what point does AI take over not just the white collar jobs, but also the blue collar jobs? Because there are humanoid robots. There are large language models. They're able to learn. They're able to have the dexterity and the agility. That's coming. I mean, no one can deny that. That's on its way. Even people that talk in front of a camera will eventually be phased out or removed to a certain extent. So how do we fix? What is the reprieve? How do we fix the current situation where we have a tight labor market? People are anxious. People, it's impacting people's mental health. What is going to cause the situation to ease up some? Number one, lowering those interest rates. And the ball is in the Federal Reserve's court. So the Federal Reserve will dictate, not the president. The Federal Reserve will basically say, when is it okay to lower those interest rates? That's a big one. The second thing that we're looking at is ending the federal hiring freeze. That can help thousands of people. So that is on track to be lifted on October 16th. October 15th is the last day of the federal hiring freeze. So next month on the 16th, we would see more jobs opening, hopefully. If not, then it'll be probably extended to the end of the calendar year. We'll know more about that probably in the next few weeks or so. Then the third thing really is the tariff policies. Will we see a rollback of the tariff policies? A lot of people saying that would help out a lot. But my view on that is things are going to have to get pretty bad. There's going to have to be a lot of pain in the market, with jobs, the job reports, all of that before the administration actually does a 180 and changes their mind about the current tariff policies. But talking about the federal hiring freeze, as that's set to be lifted, the government is preparing. One of the ways that they're preparing is they're looking at ways to make it more attractive, to appeal, to get people interested in applying to federal government jobs on the website usajobs.gov. And they had a couple of brilliant ideas. If you want to know exactly the approach they're taking so you can prepare for that, check this video out next. Stay updated by signing up to the free newsletter down below. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.